This is a demonstration of the main Meniscus IPMS website. You can get access to this website by using the icon on the left-hand menu bar on the main website page. There's a little blue button at the bottom of the page and you can access it via there. So if we just enter into the website, straight away we get a view of the various assets that are defined and set up within the system. So these are the range of assets that we've got with a count of the number of sites. If we click on the wastewater treatment plant as an example, we get some very quick idea of what the performance issues are on this site: quality, cost, process, and HACCP, which is a hazard assessment of critical control parameters. It's a statistical technique we're applying. By clicking on the actual main site, you can get into the main dashboard area of the page, which gives you a quick overview of the performance of your site. So we've got ideas of costs. So we've got cost, and we can convert that into, change that to consumption. Broken down into a number of process areas with differences on the sides. We've got chemicals, we can need sludge and any other utilities within that. Little graph to show the overall performance of that. We've got quality metrics, key performance indicators, and process parameters. And we can click on one of these, get a quick idea of what the performance is. So that's the overall performance of this particular site and parameter for the financial year to date. So this is showing data from the beginning of April through to the current date. We can look at key performance metrics by clicking on this date. So this is looking at this particular site. There's just one other site in there, but if I click on this button, then we have two other sites which have got this key performance indicator set. So this is the average performance of the two sites, and 0.72, that demonstrates the performance of this individual site. So you can use this to compare and benchmark process performance across a number of sites. And down at the bottom we've got a number of process metrics. This is the average readings, and these are the number of exceptions above and below high and low limits. So we can click on that little icon there, and if we see a plus button in the graph, that means we can drill down into the underlying calculations that make up this data. So this is the calculated metric, and this is the flow data and the return activated sludge flow data, which contributes to making up this key metric that we're monitoring here. So just quick moving away from this performance dashboard, we have a HACCP dashboard, which is a hazardous assessment of critical control parameters, which is a statistical control technique, process control technique for monitoring and identifying parameters where they may not have breached high limits, but they have gone out of exception. So these are a number of parameters, and we're using this to generate alerts and alarms on sites. We can look at key performance metrics. So these again are the number of benchmarks which are set up for this site. So this has got, there's only one site has this particular benchmark, but again here we have another site. This particular site has two benchmarks. This is the graph we saw a little earlier. We can look at data entry side of things. We can select, we can create meter reading forms, and this would define the data that is to be entered into the site. So these are just saying, well, these are manually read meter readings, and these are entered into the system, and we can set up any number of these meter reading forms. We can view a range of management reports. So I'll choose a historic utility report, and I'll just generate that. And we can create a very wide number of management reports to view the data. So again, this is the actual demonstration. This is the graph that we're seeing, and we can see that this has broken the power consumption, or it's actually broken the power consumption out into individual processes. We also have an analysis setback where we can look and view a range of graphs. So if I add in a couple of graphs, you can just see this in action. I'll add in the half-hour power. So this is looking at flow and power, and by graphing this, we can just see the two graphs trending on the same graph, just to get a very quick representation. If we actually remove that and update it, when you have just one graph showing, we have an ability to drill down into the data, so we can zoom into the data if required. So I'll just take that out for ease of purposes. And if we go and look at a calculated metric, so we'll look at this calculated metric. Oops, sorry, I've just lost it. Then again, you'll see that because it's a calculated metric, we have a little plus down button down the bottom of the page, and that means we can drill into the relevant parameters that make up this particular site. So you can drill down into all the calculations that you're requiring. And finally, from a very quick overview, a site setup. We can view a site tree, which just gives a very quick representation of the way in which the data is structured in the database. So we can see the processes we've set up, and we can see any sub-processes and the meters associated within that particular process. So that's useful for looking at this. And if we want to, here, we can actually click and go directly into the meter itself. So now we're into edit mode in the meter. We can see the meter readings, the dates, we can see the type of meter that we've defined. And all of these characteristics are features that dictate how this particular meter will operate. And if we want, we can just go and see a calculated metric as well, so we can have an idea of what a calculation looks like. Oops. So choose that meter, and we'll edit it. And this is the calculated metric that we're displaying. And if we can use the site tree to get an idea of exactly what that meter is. So 20169. That is the ASP power, and it's divided by 20054, which is the ASP flow. And we can set up as many calculations as people want to achieve. There's some advanced options to define aggregation functionality, where we're wanting to display and collate data from a 6-second into a minute or a 15-minute reading. We can set targets for things, so this is where we can set up the conventional monitoring and targeting type applications. We can set up categories into which this particular parameter will be included, and this greatly simplifies reporting. So, along with the setup of the meters, we can set up sites, processes, targets, batches, we can costs and conversions. In fact, we can set up virtually everything that you need to from the website. So what I've tried to do is give a very, very quick overview of how the website works. So please, if you'd like to look at it further, have a look at the demonstration and log in and take a look around. If you have any questions, please call us and we'd be very pleased to help. Thank you for your time. Bye.